Alright, what's up everybody? Eric here with another EWE Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing Freaky. Before we get into that, please like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you want me to review next. But yeah, this is a review for Freaky. This is a 2020 film, so a friend recommended me I watch this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch it, give a spoiler-free review. If people wanted to go check it out, let them check it out. Sadly, I missed this happening on after Halloween. This would have been like a great spooky movie for people to watch around that time. It's all good. I mean, there's not as much coming out in the next couple weeks, so if people wanted to watch something cool, I think this is something people would like. So yeah, this is Freaky. This is a comedy slasher film with that's rated R. Its release date was November 13th, 2020. It had a budget of $6 million, and that's probably what saved this movie. Such a low budget, and having to come out at the worst time possible during COVID. So its box office only 18.1 million, but still, that's not bad right there when like we're talking about COVID. So I remember this, I think this came out to streaming around the same time, but I can't remember exactly. The director of this film is Christopher Landon. The cast are Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton, Celeste O'Connor, Misha Osherovich, Uriah Shelton, and Alan Ruck. And it has a runtime of 101 minutes, and I watched this on Prime Video. It had like one of those settings where you can watch it for free with some ads, so I was like, cool. And does not have a post-credit scene. Basic plot of this movie is this. After swapping bodies with a deranged serial killer, a young girl in high school discovers she has less than 24 hours before the change becomes permanent. So Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton switch bodies. He's a killer. She's just a high school kid, but now they're on the other body. It's a Freaky Friday, but with a serial killer. So, pretty cool. So let's go into my thoughts, guys. As usual, this is going to be spoiler-free. So, the bad. So, I think So, I talk about this in other reviews. Something that I've noticed with recent, like, slasher horror films is that a lot of people that actually do get killed are usually, like, not bad guys, but, like, they're not good people. A lot of time, like, they're pretty mean and, like, kind of dicks and stuff like that. So it's like you end up rooting for the villain a lot of these times. And I'm not sure if that's exactly what they should be doing, but I'm just going to put it here. It's like not one of my favorite things they're doing in newer horror films. Like sometimes you got to kill someone that's innocent for me to feel like, oh yeah, that's all good. The movie does start up kind of slow. Like at first when I first started watching, I was like, oh, what's this going on? I was a little bit confused, but then once it starts going, it gets going. So that was really cool. And they use okay, so if you look at Catherine Newton, you wouldn't think, oh, this girl's ugly. But yet the movie tries to do that she's all that thing of like, oh no, she's not cute until she starts putting on makeup and all this other stuff. It's like, guys, come on, she's not an ugly girl. Like, you'd have to be stupid to think that she's ugly. So I didn't like that because I feel like that's a little bit played out. And the curse I thought was a little dumb. It's like, oh, so the idea is if you don't kill people with the knife and you kind of keep them alive, you failed your mission and you have to switch bodies with them. And I was just like, that kind of seems dumb. Like, at that point, just make sure you kill them. It's like, or use a different knife. I just didn't get the point of that. That seemed like the one thing I was like, okay, not the biggest deal in the world, but whatever. Let's now move on to the good, because this has a good amount of good stuff. So Newton and Vaughn are incredible. They're each playing these two characters, the serial killer and the girl Millie, and they're doing a good job of playing each one. Like when Vaughn's Millie, I'm like, that has the same feeling of Millie as when Newton was playing Millie. And I was just like, they're both able to play these characters really well. Like she played the serial killer a bit too well, and I was just like, oh, okay. And he played the high school girl so great too. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, and his version of the killer was just like, yeah, this guy's gonna kill me. He's creepy as hell. I like some of the deaths because they were wild. Like, they did not hold back with some of these deaths. Like, they're wild kills. And I was just like, you know what? This is why you're getting an R rating. You deserve it. I had a lot of fun with that. I was like, I think they're going to go so drastic with a lot of these kills, but I like that. There was also, like, some sweet moments in here with Millie and her mom. And I was just like, you know what? Sometimes these movies do need something, like, wholesome to bring you back in, especially, like, the comedy ones. It's like, okay, you got me back in. I really enjoy this. This is a little bit different than other ones we had. I would compare this movie a lot to Totally Killer. I think they're very similar, like a lot of the aspects of how they use like the character, like what they're feeling and things that go on in their past that's affecting them. I think both movies do a really good job of that. And one of the things I'll actually highlight, and I didn't think this was going to be like a highlight of the film, is when Millie's, when Newton plays the killer, even though like when the killer was in Vaughn's body, it was like, oh, this killer, like nothing's going to stop him. But inside of Millie's body, it's just like, oh, actually limited because he's not, the killer's not going to be super strong. The killer's not going to have like a size advantage on someone. So like the killer has to like change their tactics a lot of times to be able to kill people. And I was like, this is very strange, but I actually like the fact that like, because you could subdue the person in Millie's body, but when they're in Vaughn's body, you can't submit them. So it was really cool to see that dynamic. I was like, I'm not used to seeing that where it's like, oh yeah, you have the time where the killer is still a threat, but they're not as big of a threat. And I really like that use of how they did it in this film. I don't think that's something I've seen before. And it was really cool. It was like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that when I was if someone was writing the movie. I was like, oh, I wouldn't think of the fact that like, well, when you're in Vaughn's body, you can easily just go after him. Vaughn's a big guy. It's like, you can easily like outpower anyone. But inside the girl's body, it's like, you can't necessarily do that. She's pretty small. She's only like 5'5". Like, I don't even want to guess the weight. Like, super small. Like, any person could like outbeat her. So it was like really cool to see how they did things. So let's actually go on to my score, guys. And I'm actually gonna give this an 8 out of 10 for great. This, like I said, I don't like they're killing mostly bad people, but at the same time, this movie came out 2020, and I don't know prior to 2020 how big that was. I know now it's starting to become, like, in my opinion, a problem because I've seen it in too many movies. But back then, I don't think it was, so I'm not killing it too much for that. But everything else in this film was just like, okay, you knew what you were doing, you're doing what you're doing. It's like, I'm gonna give you an 8 out of 10. So I definitely recommend people go watch this. Like I said, it's free on Prime. So yeah, guys. I don't know what my next review is necessarily. Movie-wise, next week I'm watching Marvels on Thursday. I'm going to try and get that review out by Friday, but it's going to be out by Saturday at the latest. I'm hoping that's good because I have not been having a good track record with Marvel other than Guardians of the Galaxy recently. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Really want to know what people thought about this movie. All right.